of just doing public works in agriculture, maybe they can start building the homes and be paid for that. So we have to be a little creative and a little flexible.
There are many schemes under RSVY also which say that you work for yourself, you build your own village, and government pays to it, and you get a rise also. So there are many components which comes with the government scheme. I think they can definitely start off with that.
Right.
But when we are saying that Oxfam wants to be part of the entire rehabilitation process, because you have already started your work and you sincerely believe that you would love to continue, because I think at halfway nobody would like to stop them. So what is your concrete vision about how you want to take your initiative forward in BTAD?
For us, the initiative would just be scaling up of what we do. As I said, for us, our focus is very clear. While people have a lot of needs, we don't want to get into things that we don't know how to do. So we know how to do water and sanitation, and that's what we are doing. And people are very pleased with that. Actually, I think one of the things is that not very many people have come forth to help. So, the fact that Oxfam is there, the fact that we are witnessing what is happening, the fact that we are working with people, treating them with dignity, I mean, that seems to mean a lot to people. And I think we need many more, all hands, not just Oxfam, but all the other humanitarian organizations, government, NGOs, corporate world, everyone to come in and help. Because it's quite a large-scale problem. I mean, today there are still 2 lakh people living in these tents. So, winter is coming. You want to get them back home into something more permanent than what they're living. I think something that we saw which really moved us very terribly was that in some camps, people were still staying in the school. But then they had to make this very difficult trade-off between, should we vacate the school to move into a less pakka shelter, into a more temporary shelter, so that our children can at least start their schooling and they're not, wasting losing months of learning, or do we continue to occupy the schools? And in one camp that we saw, people had just moved out of the school because they wanted their children back in school, and they were living in this field in front with just the tarpaulin sheet and the ground sheet. And because of the rains, unfortunately, there's not one disaster, but so many. It's flooded.
Yes.
And we saw children just knee-deep in water and everybody just wading around in water, and it was a horrible sight to see. So, I mean, somehow are there not, semi-permanent structures that could be put up much faster? We saw some structures that definitely looked better than a tarpaulin sheet, but that's where, the security people were living, which is also important. But maybe mobilize some of that resource to also be doing humanitarian work. I've lived in countries where very quickly the government just mobilizes, security and everything else quickly.
I think the problem for setting up the houses or permanent structure, or maybe the kacha or whatever houses they can build for them, I think they are taking time is because of identification of the originality, the nationality of the people. So I think that is delaying the process. I think immediately what government could, think at this moment is like, we have to come with a solution. Let's rehabilitate them first. Let's give them a house and a shelter to live properly. Then we do the political equation or whatever issues we have to sort out. I think they are not doing that as of now, because they are too much busy with their political game. So at this moment, I think everybody has to come together to, tell the government, because government also definitely needs a suggestion. So what will be your personal advice to the government, if you can, just talk on that?
Well, I think in a way I would agree with you that there are immediate needs that need to be met. People are sitting there filling forms and all of this. That can go on for a long time to verify who had what pattas and what. But the humanitarian needs are very urgent. People to be living in knee-deep water. I think we need to build these semi-permanent structures fairly quickly, get people out of waterlogged fields. And if there is anything that can be done in terms of existing government schemes, ICDS, PDS, NREGA, all of these to get goods and services and income flowing into the hands of these people, to entice them to move back to the villages, and 3 lakh people have moved back, so even the others can move. And it's actually the fact that papers are being verified and they're not sure what they will get, and if they leave the camp, maybe they will lose entitlement to some government scheme that is holding some people back. For some others, it's a more genuine issue. So, for example, some people whose homes were burnt, Rajiv Gandhi Awas Yojana, it gives people, they're giving 30,000 rupees plus some tin. Now, people are saying that's not enough. How do we make a house out of that? If you could top it up, add that scheme, add some other schemes together, so that there is enough money to build something into which people can move, that is winter-proof, that will keep them secure, and then we can sort out all these other issues, which will take time, of course.
I think we'll head in for a small break, but when we come on the other side of the break, I think we will discuss more about the BTAD and the issues and what government and what Oxfam and other organizations can do to improve or change the living for better in BTAD.